Hello friends, for today's video I'm going to be doing the end of the year book tag. I'll do this same tag over on Full Meta Analysis, my side channel that is primarily about manga, comics, video games, movies, TV shows, anime, that sort of thing. And for today, of course, I'll be sticking to books. And I'm just going to jump into it. The first question is there a book that you've started that you really need to finish? I did have a couple of soft DNFs. My friend Christy, I was watching a DNFs video of hers, and she talks about the difference between soft DNFs and hard DNFs being books that you DNF'd and you're like, yep, nope, I'm good. I don't need to read that ever. I don't need to pick it up ever again, try to push through it. Nope. And then soft DNFs are like, you kind of just, they got away from you and you started to read other things, or you have some reason why you definitely want to come back to it, but you just weren't able to. So I've had a few of those this year, but they're not the highest priority for me. So I wouldn't say I really actually have anything I've started that I really need to finish within a single book. But I have, of course, been doing the Cosmere read-along this year, and I definitely need to complete that. The ones that are remaining are Warbreaker, Oathbringer, and Rhythm of War. I do have over on my community tab, you might have to scroll a little bit, but I do have a post of when those live shows are taking place over on Patreon, and then after the live shows on Patreon, those will, of course, be available to watch here on the channel. The replays will be available. So if you're interested in those dates, I will see if I can link that specific post. I'm not sure you can do that, but it's on the community tab. But anyway, the Cosmere. That's my answer to the first question. The next question is there an autumnal book that you like to pick up to transition into the fall season? And there isn't really anything that every single year, as soon as this time of year comes around, I have to pick up this story or I have to watch this TV show. I do, however, think I'm more likely to seasonally mood read around fall. And I don't feel compelled to do that same thing in the spring. In the summer, I'm just melting because it's so hot where I live. And so I just am like, people talk about seasonal depression in places where they tend to not have as much sunlight and it's so rainy and dreary and cold. But I swear I get a version of that in Arizona in the summer because it's so hot. You don't even want to take the trash out. You're just like, oh, this sucks. And I like being outside because it's nice outside. So I really hate the summertime. Anyway, I'm saying all that just to say that I don't feel like I want to hold on to the feeling of the season through my reading. Obviously, various different seasons have different effects on us, on the weather, on nature, and I don't feel very happy, and like I just want those seasons to go away. I just want summer to go away, especially toward the end of spring. I'm just like, ugh, dang it, I wish it was still winter. So when fall does come around, I'm just so joyous and happy, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to take Luna for a walk, or I want to go hiking, and I want to go to all these various different places, and I want to feel like I can actually live, and so I want to capture that in my reading as well. I want to embrace the season as much as possible, so I do think I tend to lean toward the more atmospheric, the spookier, creepier types of stories, or the ones where the settings just feel so alive, and I'm more likely to pick up something where even if especially with winter books, if there's a feeling of dread that comes because of the cold, I'm like, oh yeah, cold, it's so biting and terrible, but I love it, so I maybe because I'm not actually experiencing it myself, because winter in Arizona is like pretty perfect. Anyway, I'm more just talking about the weather to all of you now, which is like the most I'm turning into a boring adult conversation topic I think possible. My answer is basically no. I don't have a book that I use to transition into fall. I more so just am more open to seasonal mood reading. The next question is there still a new release that you're looking forward to toward the end of the year? And there's actually quite a few. I do tend to notice that early November, tends to have a lot of releases because we're getting books out right before Black Friday shopping and the holidays. And I don't know if this is a huge reason why a publisher would decide to have things come out in November, but I do wonder sometimes if the early November releases are also tied to Goodreads nominees, because sometimes we've seen something that just came out and it ends up on the Goodreads nominees. I think The Lost Metal, for example, was one of them. So I am just I'm just throwing out there that it feels like last year there weren't nearly as many, and this year it feels like there's so many. So the sequel to Divine Rivals, I have read Divine Rivals, and I really liked it. I definitely think it deserves the hype. And I saw the sequel is supposed to come out the day after Christmas, so it's just barely being squeezed in before the end of the year. Also, I haven't had a chance to pick up Secret Project 4, but I need to pick up Secret Project 4. The sequel to this, Vicious Grace, Talon Sister by Jen Williams, I'm literally waiting for because it's technically been released, but it was released in the UK, so I have to wait for my copy to, you know, cross the ocean. And then it's manga, but Spy Family and Witch Hat, I'm really looking forward to the next volumes of those. The sequel to the third book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, and then Defiant by Brandon Sanderson. So a lot of sequels, a lot of things that I am quite excited about are coming out here at the end of the year. So there's many more besides just those ones. Those I would say are just the ones that I really want to try to get around to before the year is done. After that, we have a question about what are some books that you really want to read before the end of the year. So not just new releases. And I did do an end of the year TBR, and it's a lot of books that have been on my TBRs for years and they just keep getting put off. And I really, really, really have a few that are probably highest priority from that list, which would be Age of Madness, Gideon the Ninth, and then picking up the Discworld books. I said before this year even started that I wanted to jump into Discworld. I just haven't had the chance yet. Those would be the three I would say are highest priority. After that, is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite of the year? I don't think there's going to be anything that's going to absolutely blow me away. It's going to be one of the best things I've ever read, more than some of the other really great books I've picked up this year, but I could see some matching it, and I guess I might have to say the sequel to Divine Rivals just because the first book really took me by surprise, and if I'm latching onto that aspect of the question, the surprise element, I was really taken aback by how much I liked Divine Rivals, so I could see being, I guess I'd be less taken aback at that point because I liked the first one. Maybe Talon Sister, but I also, that wouldn't be a surprise. If I love that book, I'm just gonna be like, well, yeah, because I loved Winnowing Flames, so it makes sense. And also I've seen some of the, I follow Jen Williams on Instagram, and so I've seen some of the reviews that people have tagged her in that she's then shared, and some of them are just hyping me up. I'm so excited for that book. So maybe Talon Sister. I just don't know. I don't know that anything's gonna really shock me, but maybe those ones. The next question, have you already started making plans, reading plans for next year? Yes. I mean, pretty much as soon as August comes around, I'm already making plans for the end of the year I'm in and then kind of into the following year. And part of the reason is that it just feels like everybody's birthdays that, not everybody in the world, but the people that are important in my life, everybody's birthdays just happen around this time of year, and then the holidays, and then the year's over. So it just feels like boom, 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 everything's back to back to back to back. And in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, everything's coming to an end. I gotta finish all these things I have going on. And a big thing for me this year is I've been really spending a lot of time writing. So I feel like I haven't been able to engage as much with all of you. And so one of the things that it's not really a reading plan, it's more a channel plan, but I do want to make videos where I feel like there's a little bit more of a connection and that it doesn't feel as one-sided, because right now it feels like I'm just talking at you all the time, and then I don't feel like I get to engage as much as I would like. And part of that is just maybe dipping a little bit into more conversational types of things. And I would really, really enjoy doing that. And that would maybe mean less so reading a lot of things, but kind of zeroing in on certain stories and then doing more types of discussion-oriented videos or doing fun. I have some fun ideas that I think a lot of you are going to be interested in. As far as literal reading plans, this is not anything new. I feel like everybody goes through this at some point. There's just so many series that I have started, some of which I can't complete because they're not completed series, but some of them are, and I would really like to allow myself more often, if I pick up a book and I really like the first one, to give myself the time to just read the rest of the series. And I think that would require me to maybe make fewer TBRs, to maybe ease off of feeling the need to plan all the time, which is kind of ironic because this question is about planning. But I almost want to ease off of figuring out, I'm going to read this on this week, and in then this, whatever, you understand how planning works. I want to ease off of that a little bit, and if I like something, allow myself to either continue the series or explore other things by that author. And if I'm in a nonfiction kick, I want to be able to pick up more nonfiction, that sort of thing. I don't think that's anything new. Like I said, I think a lot of people experience that at some point. So I guess allow myself to mood read a little bit more. And I think that's it for the questions. This tag is really short. So that's it for this tag. But I would love to know your answers to these questions, especially that last one. What are you looking to do that's a little different with your reading plans? One thing I guess I want to continue that I've started this year is I have used the library a lot more. I really like just going to the library. I just love the library. I think the library is great. And what I think would be really fun is I've purchased so many books over the years from my local bookstores, more of the backlist books because they tend to have those pretty regularly. And Hoopla, the app, I don't know why I said it so high-pitched and weird, but Hoopla, they tend to have a lot of the slightly older works. And so I think it'd be really fun to make a list of all of the backlist fantasy I own, or just other books in general, and see how many of them are on Hoopla. Make like a spreadsheet or something. And then I guess I could just go on the app, but maybe I should like move them to certain places on my shelves. That's what I should do. I should move them and be like, these are all available on Hoopla as the audiobook. So then I can do immersion reading with all those. I don't have to wait for anything to come in. And maybe that would be a fun way to be more productive with my reading as well. Not that reading should just be about getting through books. I don't mean it like that. I just mean that with audiobooks, sometimes you have a hold and then your book comes in, you're so excited, and there's people waiting, and you're like, I don't really have the time though right now. And then you can't get around to that book, and then you're like, well, great, now I don't have the audiobook for it. Or maybe there's books that you don't have the physical copy and the audiobook's the only way to go. So I kind of like this idea. Maybe that's another thing I'll do. Anyway, that was unrelated to any of the questions, but if you have any of your own plans for next year, if there's any new releases you're still excited about, those sorts of things, definitely let me know. And like I said, I will be doing this same tag over on Full Meta Analysis, so I'll have that channel linked in the description bar if you'd like to check it out. Thanks so much for watching though. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Bye.